Here is my preserved snake specimen. The external anatomy of a snake is pretty simple. You have the head, the neck, the entire body, and then the tail. How you tell where these are is with a little bit of closer examination. On the belly of the snake, you can see that these scales anterior to the cloaca are just one overlapping belly scale. And then you can see that cloacal opening. And then in the tail, you have two overlapping scales. It's a very different change from the body of the snake, cloaca, tail of the snake. So the tail of the snake starts from here down. It's just that end bit. The rest of it is the body, and it will contain vertebra and ribs. Some snakes you can see a vestigial pelvic girdle. And then from the top, they're pretty much the same. Depending on the snake, you might see different patterns on their scales. These scales are keeled. There's a line running down the middle of each one, gives it a rough shape. Many snakes don't have keels, so for example, the smooth green snake that is native to Ontario is called smooth because it's smooth scales. If we look close up at our specimen's head, you can see that the scales start to have some patterning, and when you are trying to ID snakes, knowing the patterns of their different skull scales becomes important. On this guy you can see the two nostrils at the front of his nose and his eyes, but you can't see, he doesn't have any pit organs because he's not a viper. If I open his mouth, you can see his tongue, his forked tongue there at the bottom, and the opening of the glottis is quite distinctive in this snake. You can tell that the two bottom jaws and the two top jaws are not a hard fused bone, that there's some articulation between those different joints that allow that snake to move its jaw and swallow much larger prey than you would think. I think that's it for external anatomy.